Right, here we are. Well, 3 months ago, uh, I got psychosis. I ended up with psychosis. And I think maybe 3 months before that, I might have had another episode of psychosis, which was drug induced. It was cannabis induced, which I will tell more as we go forward. But the reason I'm recording this video and potentially more videos after this is simply to document my health journey, document my recovery, document what I'm doing for multiple reasons so that I can look back and see what works and what doesn't work, just to kind of keep an eye on everything. And also so maybe other people can see, um, people who have experienced certain things that I may have experienced, and hopefully how I'm going to improve and recover. And then hopefully those people can do the same or similar, depending on their own journey. I think it will also help those around me to be able to understand what's going on, because obviously living with somebody who has certain ailments and conditions can be difficult for the loved ones. So having these videos to watch me help them to understand what's kind of going on and why I might be acting like I'm acting. But anyway, so 4 years ago, during the start of COVID, yay, my health started to take a dip. Now, it started with physical symptoms like a runny nose, a really runny nose, digestive issues, stinky farts, really bad farts all the time, and just struggling, like with mainly those two things. So I started to think, well, maybe it's food, and I got all into this food thing, and maybe I'm intolerant to this, and I developed a whole crazy thing about food. I was also a coach at the time, a fitness coach, a health coach. So I really got stuck into this nutrition, thinking I was going to fix these problems. I ended up with a girlfriend, and she had some kind of rare diabetes. So again, the food was kind of like how can we manipulate the food to help you improve, and how can I improve? So we became fixated around this food ideology, and obviously that developed later into eating disorder, where I didn't know what to eat, and I was anxious about everything. I was constantly thinking about food all day, every day. I was thinking about food, and if I wasn't thinking about my own food, I was thinking about clients' foods. So that became exhausting. 2022, jumped onto the keto diet and started to get extreme fatigue in my legs, a shortness of breath, could barely walk upstairs, couldn't go for a 10-minute walk without feeling exhausted. And this is somebody that has been into fitness for 10 years, physically strong, cardiovascularly fit, couldn't do anything. So I put it down to the lack of carbs. Eventually I reintroduced carbs, went traveling for 6 months, left the girlfriend, lost my grandma, and just loads of things happened at this time. And I seemed to recover slightly. I got more energy on the carbs, but I still had this strange fatigue. I had insomnia, couldn't sleep. I was just falling to bits. I really was falling to bits. So fast forward to 2024, where I had an eating disorder, or realized I had an eating disorder at the start of this year. I managed to get through that. Ended up getting baptized into the Christian faith, went to church. Always been into spirituality, reading about, quantum physics and spirituality and energy and all the bits between, right? And then into religion and God, found God, or what I experienced to be God. And then, yeah, this year I was doing some kind of a spiritual fast, a Daniel fast, where it's just fruits and vegetables for 21 days. Day 17 into the fast, I thought it would be a great idea somehow to have a space brownie, a cannabis brownie. And upon eating that brownie, I felt like I heard an audible voice telling me I was going to die that day. I felt like it was God, and he was kind of leading me into this death. And bearing in mind, because my health was deteriorating, I already felt like I was dying anyway. I had this idea that I was dying, and even in my body, I feel like life is leaving my body. Anyway, so yeah, had the space brownie. Felt like God was telling me I was dying that day. Went to see my mum. Just everything, so many things like synchronicity, so many signs, songs on the radio, the things that people were saying. It was all just like too overwhelmingly real. At the end of that trip, I had to get my girlfriend to help me, basically, my current girlfriend, who I've been with for a year now. I had to get her to come and kind of sit with me, because I felt like I was going to die. So at least if I was going to die, she was going to be there, and I wouldn't die on my own. I managed to eventually fall to sleep because I kept holding myself up because I felt like my face and my eyes was heavy and I was just falling to sleep without control, and I was trying to keep myself up, trying to keep myself awake. Eventually, at the end of that trip, I felt like I was given another chance in that I had to spread the good news or whatever, and also to fast, right? I didn't really fast, but I started to spread the good news. And then it took me a few months to kind of get through that, to work through that mentally, because I was still feeling like I still could hear that voice every now and again, especially the day after the trip. But then fast forward maybe 2, 3 months, I was in a good place. I realized that if I'm dying, I'm dying. So be it. I may as well go out being a good person, spreading love, rather than keep going to church and going into all that stuff that was making me worse. Because I felt like the Bible was telling me I was going to die as well, and that was the whole idea of it. I came away from that as such. I still was living the life, of a Christian to a degree, being a good person, loving thy neighbor, loving God, praying, etc. But I was also implementing aspects of Buddhism, minimalism, spiritualism, just trying to maintain this positive energy, this love, and then spread that as much as I could. But then, like I say, 2, 3 months later, I'm driving home from work, and I remembered an experience that I went through 10 years ago, where I got into a bit of a fight, came off really badly, lost a few teeth and, concussion, all the rest of it. I got knocked unconscious. Somehow, in that moment, 3 months ago, I believed my brain had convinced me I was dead. I was actually dead. I didn't wake up from that experience and I was actually dead. Even now, talking about it sends kind of shivers up the back of my neck. And for 3 months, I didn't really know what was real. I didn't know what was real. People around me, I felt like my mum, my girlfriend, people I've known all my life as well, they were just apparitions of the mind trying to convince me that to stay here in this place, whereas I was being told I had to go. I had to let go of attachment to everything and dissipate, die, if you like. So 3 months it's been a strange old journey. It's been a strange old journey. The therapy came quite late, and it was difficult to try to get that established. So I had to do a lot of this work myself, because I wasn't praying, I wasn't with God, but God was obviously there, if whatever. And yeah, I felt nothing. Everything was scaring me. I couldn't watch films. I still struggle to watch films at the minute. I couldn't listen to music. I couldn't play games without there being some kind of a sign that was telling me, you should be dead. You are dead. You are dying. Blah, blah. It was overwhelming. Fortunately, thank God, I'm now feeling more real, more based in reality. But there's been some things that I've had to do, if you like, to get there. Now, at first, along the journey, it was a case of I drink alcohol at the weekend to shut this off, just to kind of just shut it off. Not loads of alcohol. I'm not. I used to drink a lot. I'm not a big drinker anymore. 2 or 3 bottles at the weekend, maybe up to 5 drinks at the weekend, just to try and shut it off. And it worked. It worked for a little bit. Obviously, then it comes back, and then you have to deal with it. I'm meditating every day. I was still exercising. Generally speaking, trying to eat healthy, but not thinking about it too much because I didn't want to go back into my eating disorder. So yeah, it's been a crazy place. But like I say, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good at the minute. I've been feeling good for about a week, like really good for about a week, normal for a week. Things feel real, like actual people are people, and yeah, hard to explain. What I've done over the last week has really been pivotal in this journey, and this is kind of where this video is going to go on, and where this journey hopefully will go on. Initially, I started taking 5-HTP, which is a supplement made from Griffonia seed extract, and it's basically the precursor to tryptophan, which turns into serotonin in the brain, so science says. Serotonin is the chemical that makes us feel good. It makes us feel content, happy, makes us feel like we don't need to indulge, can actually help people in addiction. Now, dopamine, which is the other one, I don't quite know how it works. I don't take this as gospel. But supposedly dopamine and serotonin both compete for the same receptors in the brain. So if you've got too much serotonin, too much dopamine in the brain, it's going to be very difficult for serotonin to kind of get in there, which kind of makes sense because dopamine, so they say, is the motivating chemical. It's the chemical that makes us chase, to strive, to try to achieve. It's the excitement leading up to the thing that we want to get, and then when we get it, we're like, oh, well, that wasn't what I thought it was. which is the idea of chasing the more. It's the disease of more, I call it. So, I lose track of thought a little bit, so you have to bear with me. I do apologize. But yeah, the disease of more, dopamine. Whereas serotonin makes us feel good with what we've got, content, happy. Well, I just couldn't feel excitement for anything. I couldn't feel anything. I wasn't happy. I was in a weird place. Started taking 5-HTP because I've taken it before. I remember before it helped me to be in kind of society and talk to people and want to be around people, because I struggle with that, as do many of us these days. And yeah, within 2-3 days of taking 5-HTP, something had changed. Like I was able to sit there and do nothing. Whereas before, during the psychosis, I couldn't sit down and do nothing. I had to move all the time. I felt like I was being followed by a demon. And every time, like a slow demon, and every time I sat down, it would get close. And then I'd have to get up and move. I'd just keep busy, stop thinking, whoa, no thank you. Now I feel like I can sit here and chill and be at peace a little bit easier. And I can be around people and I can actually listen to people and understand what they're saying. Whereas before, I couldn't understand what they were saying. The words were going in, but I'm like, I don't know what you mean. I can't figure it out. And it was scary. I thought I was getting dementia, still kind of toying with the idea, and Alzheimer's. So I've had it. I've thought it all, right? I've thought heart failure, then the blood's not going to the brain, and that's why the fatigue's happening, because the blood's not getting to the lower extremities. All of this, my body's shutting down, right? And then obviously now the mind is like, I can't handle this at the minute. Boom. That's where the break has happened. But also back to what we were saying, also over the last week, I've gone back to a whole food plant-based diet, like a 90% whole food plant-based diet with some of these like Kvarg yogurts, the only ones that seem to agree with my body. Again, I know dairy is not fantastic, but there's not a lot I can eat, so I'm finding it difficult without flatulence and constipation and fatigue. And I figured out the fatigue came from salt. When I eat too much salt or any salt in processed foods, or if I add too much salt to foods, I get really bad fatigue, like a weird feeling in my mouth, tightness of the chest, of breath, lack of breath. So many things. I don't want to bore you with the details. But anyway, whole food plant-based diet, and since doing that, I've experienced so much less anxiety. And it's only been probably like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. This is day 5 today, and I feel so much more peaceful already. Less anxiety, less dread, less panic attacks, or no panic attacks, should I say, which is interesting, because this is what God or my body was telling me to do years before. Over the last 4 years, is go whole food plant-based, go whole food plant-based, or go whole food based even, sometimes a little bit of meat. But I've realized that when I eat meat, I've done this on and off now for maybe 10 years. I went vegan before for a year. And when I eat meat, I feel more irritable, more agitated, like just not good. Same thing when I drink coffee. I don't drink coffee anymore. Can't, because I break out in chilblains. But when I drink coffee, I feel agitated. And I've done some research, right? And I'm not saying that it's right, but it makes sense. When we drink coffee, the body releases cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. If you're feeling agitated, you've probably got too much stress hormones circulating in the system. According to studies, after eating a meal with animal products in, your cortisol levels go up, right? You go on Google, you can Google the studies yourself. So it makes sense that if I've got all this stuff in my body, sugar as well, I get super anxious after eating high sugar, processed sugar that is. Again, releasing cortisol into the blood. So something's telling me in my body to stay away from these things, right? So I've cut out caffeine. I felt good, sleeping good, less agitated, more able to listen to people around me and not think, oh, hurry up, shut up, just horrible negative thoughts that don't need to be thought. Cut out the meat, more improvements, more at peace. Now, the only thing then is that because I'm struggling to get protein in, because I can't drink protein shakes because of the stomach, I can't eat beans because of IBS, I can't eat tofu because it makes me stink. It's difficult. Then I start losing muscle mass. It's the attachment of looking physically in a certain way, because that's what I've associated my identity with for so long. And it's this balance of looking great versus health. And I'm obviously leaning more towards the health now. But it's been a very difficult journey letting go of this attachment. 10 years of being a coach, 10 years of being a personal trainer, 10 years of people going, Zach's good at this and looks good, so we'll give him a round of applause for it. And then my ego goes, ooh, I'll tie my identity to that. But then now I'm letting go of the coaching. I stopped coaching this year, and I'm going back to being a normal person again, a normal human being, rather than a human a human striving, or a human trying to achieve, a human trying, or human doing. We're not human doings and tryings and strivings. We're human beings, going back to being. That's where the peace is found. That's where the contentment's found. It seems to be. It seems to be. And then you get a week, a month, a couple of months into this journey, and your body changes, and then that attachment comes back because your identity is disappearing. So, yeah, it's been a crazy journey so far. It's been a crazy journey so far. But moving forward, what I would like to continue with is this whole food plant-based approach, is to go more into that, to go deeper into that, without the restriction that I placed on myself before of I can't do that, I can't have that, because that's where the disorder came from. The idea is to allow myself, if I really, really want something, to have it, right? And I know that sounds like a bit of a get-out clause, and in a way it is, but it's also, pardon me, it's also something I've realized that if I can just say to myself, yeah, it's there if you want it, and you can have it, you know the consequences, it's easier to abstain from that thing rather than going, I can't have it, because all of a sudden it creates this resistance in me that just becomes, I'm always thinking then. So, or if I feel like I need more protein, like I'm feeling weak and tired. But I want to ultimately move towards the whole food plant-based approach. I want to do this for a year. I want to see if it can improve these symptoms of fatigue, of brain fog, of the thought of Alzheimer's and heart disease and all heart failure, all the other things that have been plaguing my mind and showing physical symptoms. If this whole food plant-based diet is supposedly the thing that can reverse and prevent and reverse these symptoms and these diseases. So that's kind of where we're at the minute. Like I say, we're 5 days in, we'll see how it goes. And I may continue to make videos. But I think we've gone on for long enough for now. Happy days.